you know, I've watched you. Sometimes our people disagree with you, but I mean, I understand some of your approach. I mean, sometimes we take a hard bite. It helps us as politicians.
Nowadays, when I listen to you, I even panic.
Why?
Maybe, hey,
Why do you panic?
the way you, Papa, you know, Papa.
Figuratively, he bites as hard as he can.
Okay.
And of course, when he puts his fangs into you, you certainly feel it. I think it prickles.
Watch Johnnies Bite.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yet, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Thursday. Welcome to Johnnies Bite. It's raining, so we know the drill. Drive safe. Don't be in a rush. The roads will be slippery. If the children have to go to school at all costs because the rain is not so heavy where you are, kindly find them protective clothing. Make sure you drop them at school or find a responsible adult to drop them at school before you leave them. Don't leave them on their own to be out there and struggling under the vagaries of the weather. It's important that you do this for the future. If you take care of the future will take care of you. But this morning, I come to you with some glad news because yesterday and this week I've been very particular about, you know, giving a lot of shouts to those who have been encouraging us on Johnnies Bite. Put out a tweet for me. Yesterday, a young man like myself, maybe I'm older than him, he put out a tweet to suggest that, well, a delivery guy picked him up on a motorbike this morning and he was listening to at Hughes_on Facebook Live while riding. Big ups to TV3 Ghana and our 3FM 927. That's the station of choice these days, and hashtag Johnnies Bite is huge. Well, so that's it. You have then, and since I put this out there, people have been asking questions. Oh, so he was riding and watching at the same time. Well, the gentleman said he was listening, and then people said, oh, so the gentleman who tweeted Kojo Jack 9, he said, oh, is he the one going to be delivered? Well, he said the delivery guy picked him up. We know in this country, even policemen sit behind motorbikes with that helmet. Play the video for me, please. So it was obvious that he wasn't watching. He was listening to it. Well, it's obvious, but this is how big Johnnies Bite has grown. It's grown so big. Now, this morning also, there's a conversation that's very topical. We've been talking about SkyTrain and how much we have spent and why we spent those monies and how we should get the SkyTrain and how we are not able to get a SkyTrain because even the air trains, we are not able to, we don't have them, we don't have the full complement and yada, 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 yada. John Peter Mewu is a member of parliament for Hohoe. He is on the campaign team with Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin. I think they are in the OT region now. He's one of the members that his leader in parliament, Arnold Domprez, is not able to whip in because he is out there campaigning with many other MPs. Well, so they are not boycotting, but they are out there campaigning. Right? And I asked the question yesterday, are they campaigning with our fuel? Are they campaigning with our official vehicles? Are they campaigning with our work time? Are they campaigning with the time that they're supposed to be working and serving us? Would they take their salaries? Could they have taken their leave? Could they have taken their leave? Those who are following Dr. Baumi are there. Those who are following Alan Chamanti are there. Those who are following other candidates may be there. The question we're asking is, who is really hurting Parliament? The people who are going to the courts? I've asked them questions too as to why that's their business. Then I've asked the question too. Those in government, then the government appointees. My good friend Sami Uku, I'm told, will lead the campaign for Dr. Baumia. We know he's the Director General of the National Lottery Authority, right? Will he be taking his leave while he's doing the campaign work? Will he be doing NLA work alongside? I know he has parliamentary ambitions. My good friend Dennis Abuaji, will he also be taking? So these are questions that we're asking, but that's not the conversation. The conversation is about the SkyTrain. Now listen to John Peter Mewu when he took over from Minister Jogati. Listen to him.
Area is also within the framework of the metros.
That has also been discussed, and feasibility studies also have been done on that. But this sort of SkyTrain that we're talking about is not the is the one that is going to run on the columns, just something similar to what you see in Dubai. You know, that was something that we discussed.
So we haven't signed anything on paper?
No agreement has yet been
signed. So why did we estimate and propose and even announce that we're going to have SkyTrains in Ghana, in Accra? The man you succeeded is quoted as saying that we're going to have SkyTrain soon.
Well, it's maybe within the framework of the master plan, and
but as a minister currently, you can say on authority that there's no such agreement to have.
No, it's not possible to be done now. I don't see a SkyTrain being done in the next 3-4 years. I mean, let's be
so at least for the end of the Akufo-Addo administration, we are not going to have a SkyTrain.
There's not going to be any SkyTrain, please. It's not possible.
Wow. Yeah. And this is because we don't have the money for it.
Precisely. The funding arrangements, as I said, it's quite capital intensive. Our own taxes cannot enable us to do that. You know, unless as a country we've agreed that some taxes to be levied, but the difficulties in which we are as a result of the COVID, you realize that cannot be possible.
So it means that SkyTrain should just be a dream for us for now.
It will be on paper for any successive government or anybody to come. You see, as a country, it's good to have plans and programs. That should not be what His Excellency Akufo-Addo is doing. It's not something he wants just that within my term of 8 years. He's doing it for Ghana, and Ghana as a country will stay forever. So whoever comes, the plan is there, and this is what we need to do as a country.
But you've excited the population. Doesn't mean people, it's just a mirage.
Coming out with an idea alone, it's good.
So that is John Peter Mewu. He's also a minister for railway development. And he says that if you're looking for the SkyTrain, forget about it because it will not happen. And Sanda asked him that, thanks to CTTV for that video. But you see, when he was asked as to how the public had been excited and they were looking forward to the SkyTrain, which we have already spent $2 million for, he said that, well, they're not doing it for today, but we're doing it for the future. The basic management that I learned and development that I learned in school taught me, and marketing that I learned in school taught me something called SMART, that the goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be attainable, achievable, they have to be realistic, and they have to be time-bound. So we're told that this SkyTrain will come upstream by 2020, August of 2020. Mr. Jogati says that was not what he said. But a deal was signed on the sidelines of a certain conference that we attended. Here we are today, and we are being told that we do not have, or we will not have the SkyTrain. So for those of you who are explaining, this is the minister responsible for the sector saying that it is not realistic. Forget about it. Until President Akufo-Addo leaves, it's not going to happen. Today I'm doing throwbacks. Let's go to the state broadcaster. Something happened at the time when we had what we call the Secretary of Information. Put it up there. It's a newspaper cutting. Now, fire destroys GBC TV production building. That's what it says. And it's a story written by Deborah Finn and Joe Bradford Nina. What started as a small fire in an air conditioner on the floor of the television production building of the Broadcasting Corporation last night turned out to be a national disaster when the entire floor raised into a conflagration, destroying the film and video library of the GBC. Also destroyed in the process was the film preview theater and its entire equipment, including projectors and cameras. It all started around 5:45 p.m. when a member of staff at the Deputy Director of Television's office detected smoke from an air conditioner at the floor and alerted his boss. According to Mr. Horace Toto Gilbertson, that's his name, the Deputy Director, he tried in vain to get the fire service on telephone and therefore ordered one of his staff members to alert the newsroom. He explained that through the cooperation, though the corporation had fire extinguishers, none of them was functional when the fire started consuming greater dimensions. Mr. Gilbertson said the newsroom was requested to put a fire alert on air on both radio and television, and this was done around 6:10 p.m. Note the time differentials, 5:45 and 6:10. Even though observers were of the view that the manner in which the announcement was made lacked the required seriousness to alert the public. He said some members of staff therefore tried to salvage some of the films and equipment before the fire service arrived to fight the fire. There was a joint from the crash team, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Totobi Kwache, acting secretary for information, was at the scene, directed the National Fire Service to probe the cause of the fire. Bring back the newspaper cutting. This was what it looked like back in the day. It still looks like this. Right? This is the state broadcaster. Bring back the fire display. You see the picture of Mr. Totobi Kwache, who was in shock. He was in shock, standing there and watching. Today, I'm focusing on the state broadcast, and I'm asking the question as to whether, as a country, we have really paid attention to that state, because the building is still there. The integrity of the building has been questioned. People still work there, and people say they cringe. I spoke to 2 veterans yesterday who had worked at GBC. They said they cringe each time they think about what happened and how much we lost. And there were allegations that people were actually profiteering and stealing tapes from the place, and people were profiteering off the place on the blind side of the corporation. And so this was suspected to be arson. I don't have the report of the fire service. But this, if at the time we had Secretary of Information, this would be in the 80s or late 80s, right? Getting into the 90s. Because that would be the PNDC era, the Provisional National Defense Council era. Show the fire again. Now, it tells you how we neglect state property, how we fail to maintain state property. And I've showed you the Independence Square recently. I've shown you how, for example, and I'm told that Mr. Horace Nitoto Gilbertson, he took the fall for it. He was deputy director. He took the fall for it. It took forever for the fire service to fight the fire. They marshaled some from the airport. They marshaled some from wherever it is. The fire hydrants at the GBC itself were not working. Today, what is the story at the GBC? How much did we lose? Historical footages and all of those ones. And it tells you as a country how successive governments have not been perhaps interested in the state broadcaster. I've seen some good conversations happening around the state broadcaster recently, on social media and all of that. Sometimes they come into our corner, sometimes we go into our corner on TV3 Ghana, and then also on GTV Ghana, you know, in and out like that. But for me, as a Ghanaian, for me, as a citizen, for me, as not as a spectator, this is the pain I feel, that all the tapes got missing, all the tapes got bent, a bigger chunk of our history got chopped and cut away, pre-colonial videos and all of that. And up until now, we have not made any effort to try and raise this back. And I'm told that we have people still working, you know, around that building. So there's a picture with an OB van showing the building. There's a monitoring machine of the National Media Commission. Maybe you have to zoom in. I used to see that opposite the GBC. Now I see it under the shed. I will tell you about that monitoring machine soon. But this is the building we are talking about. This is the building we are talking about. The building that was raised down by fire. The building that we're told that a certain air conditioner had issues. Play the video for me, please.
By the time the fire service personnel arrived, the fire had gone out of control. The situation was aggravated by the lack of an effective hydrant in broadcasting house. The fire department of Valco and Gaib at Tema, as well as those of the Ports and Harbours Authority and the armed forces, were called in to help, and it took their combined effort more than 3 hours to bring the fire under control. Damage to the building was very extensive. Films and tapes spanning nearly 25 years of transmission and worth hundreds of thousands of dollars were destroyed. Also destroyed were film cameras, film editing, and office equipment.
I want to say good morning to our Minister for Information, Honorable Kojo Oponkrumah. I know you've been going to GBC. I know you've been having engagements and all of that. To the Prof, who's the Director General, good morning to you. To the board members, good morning to you. To the National Media Commission, good morning to you. I want to say good morning to anybody who feels responsible as a citizen of this country. This is your answer to the BBC. This is the state broadcaster. I work in another media house, yes, but this is the state broadcaster. This is our own. And it feels so painful to know that all of these records are gone and everybody's sitting pretty. And even for those who were traumatized because their offices were bent and they still work at the GBC and they may be feeling the pain and the pinch of the past. A simple rehabilitation, or if you like, we collapse the building and then we raise another beautiful one there, would have erased that memory and served as some respite for them. But we won't do that. That those who are alleged to have stolen tapes and may have set the place on fire, allegedly, that they are happy with themselves. That this is what is left. Allegedly, this is where it has landed us. I feel very, very sad. And I had to bring this back because this happened in the past, but presently, we are also not doing anything about it. We are also not doing anything about it. And it is a painful thing to think that somebody thought about building a state broadcaster. And when it was bequeathed to us to handle it, we decided that because it got bent, we are leaving it the way it is. Our people at NMC, good morning to you. Information Minister, good morning to you. Prof, good morning to you. The ball is in your court. Good morning.